Hey, how's it going? We're going to do a little recap on how we hold our arrows, or for those of you who are watching this that have never held arrows in your hand before. This is the Mediterranean original kasai system method. Okay, I'm putting the arrows in the same hand as my bow. It's kind of a lot easier to do this if your bow does not have a huge mound here. Okay, so it's okay to have a lump on this side of your bow. But if you have a big bump coming out here, it makes it a little bit trickier. And I'm sorry I'm not using technical terms. I don't know so much of my bow anatomy, and I apologize. So I'm going to be holding 3 arrows just to show you guys. I'm going to first make sure my fingers are underneath my slide point of my bow. Okay, you don't want to have them up here. Otherwise, I'm not going to be in line with my nocking point, which is here. Okay, so I'm going to first find the positioning of my hands. I'm going to try to make my finger and my knuckle of my pointer finger and my thumb is even as possible. Okay, so I'm not going to hold down like that or up like that, because that's going to just, I mean, it still would work, but I try to hold mine as level as possible, because we want that arrow to fly as straight as possible, because this is intuitive shooting. We're not using sights, and every little kind of nook and cranny kind of count on where that arrow is going to go. Okay, I've got 4 arrows, sorry. So I'm going to open up all of my fingers, keep my thumb kind of holding on, and I'm going to put all 4 of those arrows on my bow, and then I'm going to close all of my fingers. So what you're going to notice is that they flare out the top and they flare out at the bottom. Okay, there's no twists, none of my arrows are crossing, and then I'm going to push the heads down so that the fletching is just kind of touching that bow. So it's going to kind of look like that. Okay, and then everything's nicely spaced out. I've got nice spacing between each of my nocking points, so when I come in to do my grab, I've got room for my fingers to slide in. They're not stuck together like this, because that makes it really challenging to come in and grab. I've turned all of my nocks so they're in the same direction. So when I bring my bow to my hand, it's right there in the right position. I'm not having to screw with them and try to turn them, because that takes time and messes you up a little bit. So I'm coming in here with my fingers. I'm pinching this, and I'm putting my thumb like this, okay? So I'm really clenching down on it and holding it nice and tight. So when I pull it out, I've really got a good solid hold on that arrow. It's not flopping all over the place, because when you're cantering on a horse, that makes it a little bit more challenging to get it on the string, right? So you want to have a good, solid, firm hold on that, okay? When you're bringing it through, you're looping it on the other side of the bow. It's not on the same side, okay? I'm turning it through and putting it on the other side. I'm going to push my hand past that string, and then I'm going to use that string and I'm going to roll it on my hands so it just knocks right into place. So it's a roll, knock, and then I kind of make sure I push down too, so I'm not shooting from up here. I'm making sure that I can feel that knock is stuck on that nocking point. Okay, so I'm here. My arrows first, I'm going to check and make sure they're not twisted. I'm going to check my nocks and make sure my nocks are all properly positioned so I can pull them out easily. I'm going to bring that to center. Okay, we're on the horse, everything's at center. I'm not trying to fiddle with this over here. Okay, what happens when you're trying to do this over here and you're cantering on a horse is you go off your horse, right? So you really want to keep everything kind of centered when you're in the saddle. Everything comes back to center, okay? This hand doesn't reach over. This hand stays on this side of the hemisphere of the body, okay? So you bring your bow hand to this hand. Loose and floaty elbows, okay? We're not stuck down here. Relax and pull from here. Find that knock, okay? 2 fingers, then the thumb. Have a good solid grab on it, okay? We're here. We're going to push our bow hand as we pull that arrow out, and then we bring it all back in. Roll that string to the knock, okay? So we're all doing that up here. Again, find the knock. Good grab. Okay, good grab. Let it peekaboo out a little bit. Otherwise, if it's too tight, you're going to miss the string, right? You want to show a little bit of that knock so that when you're rolling it onto the string, it's there. Put a little pressure on the string and that will help hold it on, okay? If you don't put any pressure on, it's gonna do that. That's super frustrating, okay? So once you've pulled it, once you've got it, you hear that click, you feel that knock, put a little pressure on. Then we go to the first phase where we're holding to the target. That's 1, 2, check your elbows. Then 3, you release, okay? So again, make sure there's no twists. And a twist is gonna look like this, okay? You see my arrows? See how they're kind of twisted there in my hand, okay? See how that kind of clumps them all together? It's gonna make it hard for me to figure that out when I'm not looking, right? When I'm looking at it, I'm sure I can figure it out, but you don't wanna be looking at them when you're cantering down a track on your horse, right? So you wanna be able to go for feel. So from here, I'm grabbing all up here, okay? Not down here. This is where your horse is. This is dangerous territory. This is where you're gonna stab your horse, okay? You want everything to be up here. Grab your arrow. You're gonna push your bow, okay, so that your string is hitting your forearm, and that's gonna create a nice window for you to push this arrow through on your bow that's still slightly horizontal, not vertical. You're gonna push it through, roll it back, find your nock, push it down, make sure it's on your nock. Then from there, it's 1, 2, and release. All right, I hope that was helpful. Again, shoot me a message. I'm open to questions and happy to help.